Hey everybody, welcome to 292 of episode 292 of KT Confidential, the real estate podcast. In today's episode, we're discussing whether or not it's worth staging your home when preparing to sell. Enjoy. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning to you. So an email came through recently.
Okay, tell me.
And it was a real estate related organization that, sends occasional emails with blogs they've written. And this one blog caught my eye because it's been a discussion lately. And that was 10 ways to persuade your clients to see the value in staging. And we don't usually have trouble with this, but there are certain people that are not keen on it. So I thought it would be good to chat about.
If you need to persuade your seller in staging in 2024, that should be red flag number one.
No, not at all. Not at all.
No?
No.
You don't think that this seller is going to be combative on everything?
No.
Okay, because let's talk about it then.
Once you do it, I'll have a perfect example.
Give me the example.
I can't talk about specific details because this is one that's going, actually, it's probably on the market now. I don't know. Maybe not. But I'm working with clients who are an older
probably
couple.
On the market now, as in we're recording this podcast.
Yeah, I don't remember when this one's being released. But, working with an older couple, they haven't sold a house in decades, half a century to be exact. Maybe they didn't ever sell a house. I don't know. And they're...
You don't ask those questions when you're at a conversation at their home about listing the property? When was the last time you sold a home?
Well, I know how long they've been there.
Right.
So I know it's been at least 50 years.
How do you know they didn't own other property?
Because I know that.
Okay.
And they're an older couple, so they're very reluctant just because of the nature of the stress involved. And it is a lot of work
for
getting a house ready and living with staging. That's not your
Agreed.
furniture, just mentally, and physically, a combination of all of that. And their daughter was assisting, and she's never staged before, so she didn't see the value in it. So this was a combination of persuading both parties to see the value in it.
Did you show them some before and after photos?
No, I didn't, because their home was so unique that I had nothing that would really help from that perspective.
Okay.
And for them, their big concern was
how did the home show without staging?
It was very well kept. It was organized. It was dated.
Right.
They've been here for 50 years. It was...
And that's the problem that we face, is that a lot of people have homes that they believe show well because they're clean, well maintained, they've got nice things. Mm-hmm. But when you're listing the property for sale to the public, you need a home that appeals to the widest audience possible.
Mm-hmm. And the likely demographic that's buying it.
Right.
Which is not the demographic living there.
That's a huge component to it, is who is going to buy that property, and let's make it appeal to them. So when they walk in, they have that emotional connection and they just automatically say, wow, I want to live here.
Well, so one of their concerns with regards to staging was that they felt it was going to be converted into some modern monstrosity. And this was a century home, a lot of Victorian character to it.
Right.
And, I assured them, we strategically choose stagers that will suit the property. And this particular this particular stager that we used for this home is excellent at working with the character of the home and amplifying it, not trying to change it, because the buyer of that particular home doesn't want a modern home that's minimalist and decorated that way. And she did a phenomenal job, and they were blown away, as was their daughter. They were really happy with it, but it was a lot of work to get to that point. So
yeah, and that happens from time to time. People don't want to sometimes make the efforts required to prepare for the stagers. So maybe they don't have the time, the patience. Sometimes you've got a lot of books and artwork of yours, or pillows or furniture that just what happens is, and I've gone through it myself, you've gone through it, is when you move, you take stuff with you to the new home and you add to it. If you move again, now you're taking stuff from 2 previous homes. A lot of people don't get rid of things as they go.
Yeah.
And now it's a mishmash. That's why cottages always look weird, because that's where the stuff from home goes to die. That's what they say, right?
Yeah.
If you're not using that sofa anymore, oh, it'll be great at the cottage. Just throw it in the dining room or whatever.
Yeah.
Why are you laughing?
I thought you said sofa.
Yeah.
And then you said dining room. So I was a little bit confused.
I said
my brain was processing.
I said it intentionally because the living room at the cottage has a sofa already. Oh, we'll squeeze it into the dining room.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
I was trying to process that in my mind.
People try to make use of things.
Yeah, I would agree.
At those kind of properties.
And one of the, a common conversation we have to help sell the idea of staging is that, well, when it comes to, let me backtrack a little bit. A lot of the times, in order to accommodate staging, one of the most common things is removing stuff, whether it's personal photos or, accessories, or even big furniture, full-size couches, dining room sets, whatever. And a lot of the time, these things are not going to be moving to the new house anyways. So when you have that discussion with people, it's like, well, let's talk about this. When you move, what are you realistically taking with you, and what do you think you could do without? Because there's things that it would be worth purging now. So let's tackle that now, so that when it is time to move, you've already done some of it.
Is that Chris's phone?
I don't know. It probably won't get picked up on the mic though.
So
that was Jennifer.
Oh, Jennifer. You want to be on the podcast today, Jenny? She said yes. One thing that I just wanted to touch on, and I wanted to get you to explain the importance of this, because it's been a while since we've talked about it.
Okay.
But I am shocked at how many homes I've been in the last month where personal photos, even a couple of realtors that were selling their homes, and I'm walking in, and it happens more often than not in the basement or in the family room or living rooms, where there are photos of the family all over the place.
Yeah. Well, first of all,
you need to get rid of those photos.
I think a
folks.
lot of realtors selling their homes are just listing them at unreasonable prices to hopefully get leads. That's a different discussion.
Do you think that still happens?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so.
Well, if that's how they're presenting their home to get leads, good luck converting those leads.
Seriously. So you want to talk about the importance of de-personalizing it.
Yeah.
So the whole idea, like our goal with every property is to kind of replicate a model home, right? Yeah. Because that's the ideal shopping experience, is walking through.
Do model homes still exist, Adrian?
I don't know if builders need to do them anymore.
They might have to. They might have to now.
I know. I knew a custom builder whose personal home was his model home. Okay. So he would bring people through his personal home and show kind of, these are the things I can do. But that's the ultimate experience, because you want to remove any association with other people living there, so that the visitors can more easily envision themselves living there. And quite often when I'm walking through a house that has photos, I'm walking through a house, let's say in Milton, with people who currently live in Milton and just looking to upsize. And they say, I know that person. Right. So then that kind of, maybe it could help, because, I'd love, maybe they're on good terms, or maybe they're not. And then it's like, he lives here. Forget that. Let's move on to the next house.
But more often than not, it just throws the mindset out of the window, because now all of a sudden you're in somebody else's home.
Yes.
Versus being in a home that could be yours. Now you're in somebody else's home.
Yes.
And you're focused now on, look, they have a dog. Oh, they have a dog. Oh, look, she's cute. Oh, they're so nice. Whatever.
Yeah.
And the focus totally goes off of the home, the size, the finishes, whatever. And
it's not even, sometimes it's not even a conscious thing. It's just subconsciously they're not able to make it feel like their own.
right.
And it's, and that's the thing with the whole
You'll
sale.
You never see photos in a magazine of a home where there's people
No.
on the walls or on the mantle.
It depends on the magazine, but
unless it's a photo of Kramer and a cigar.
Like, we'll put it this way, though. I mean, if you have personal photos in your house is still going to sell. If you don't cut your grass, your house is still going to sell.
If your home isn't staged.
If you don't paint it and we suggest painting it, it's still going to sell. If you don't stage it and we suggest staging, it's still going to sell at some point.
The only question is
how long and for how much.
Yeah, how long is it going to be on the market?
Every little
how much is it going to sell for?
Step in our process is individually seems seemingly small and not important.
Okay, now that's us. That's our team and all of that.
No, I'm just saying, and I'm not talking about us though specifically. I'm saying,
well, this is what I'm talking. This is why I'm interrupting you, because when you say us and you're not referring to us as our team, us doesn't mean the whole realtor network. It doesn't mean every realtor out there has the same thoughts, the same process. There's a lot of realtors out there that don't care, that don't invest in the money to showcase your home properly. That if you meet with them and you as the seller say, oh, I don't need to do anything. My house looks good. It's clean, this and that. I don't need to paint. I painted 6 years ago. All of those things. The realtor, there are realtors out there that will say, oh yeah, you're right. It looks good enough. Let's just get it on the market as soon as possible because the market's good.
Yeah.
You are leaving money on the table when you do that.
Absolutely.
And by our math, it's no less than 1%. And oftentimes it's more. 2%, 3%.
And we've talked about this before, but I've had people who were disgusted at the lack of cleanliness and general maintenance in a house.
Yes.
How dirty the baseboards are, which
we
seems
talk about that all the time.
Ridiculous, but there are certain triggers for certain people that they're looking for, and it can make or break a sale. So why not address everything and just do it? But there's other things about staging I want to talk about. And it was unrelated to whether or not you should do it, because I think it's the majority of people see the value in it. And if you don't after this, well, I don't know what to say. But there's other parts to it. Is we had somebody recently who loved the staging so much that even after the house sold, they wanted to keep it in the house, which was that's a big compliment to the stagers. Yeah. They did such a great job. So there's some houses you'll go into where, I don't know the best way to approach this, but I had the discussion. There was a couch in one property where the leg was loose. So we went in and fixed it. And I had a discussion with a stager where they felt like some of the staging is made for staging, not for using. And my argument with that was, well, it's there and it looks like a couch. It is a couch. Somebody's going to sit in the fucking couch. And if it's my grandma and she sits, well, say it's a chair, an armchair with a 12-inch leg on it. And that leg busts off and my grandma falls on the ground and breaks her hip. Guess who's going to be sued, right? Many people. So
why does it matter if it's a 12-inch leg?
Well, if it's a 2-inch leg, you're not falling very far. I thought I was clear with that. That's why I emphasize the size of the leg.
I haven't seen too many chairs with a 2-inch leg, but okay.
Well, couches often have two. You get a big, full-size, lazy boy armchair.
Well, a lot of staging companies use blow-up mattresses with those fake frames. No, for couches.
Yeah. But you could get a slip cover and you could somehow arrange it in boxes.
Right.
And that's
Pillows
different.
Cover
but then
everything up.
The only time that I think staging should not be assumed to be used for anything but looking at is if you have signage on that piece of furniture saying, do not sit, this is staging, it will fall to the ground or it will pop.
Actually, to that point, if you think about model homes, they do have that sign, even though you could use it, they do have that signage around that says, please don't sit.
Yes, that's probably more, they don't want to be making the bed every day because the kids are jumping on it.
Right.
In real estate, in this
and they want the stuff to last.
Yeah, in this industry, one would say you're probably less likely to run into that because everyone's represented and accompanied by an agent. For sure, kids will do things, even adults will do things that they probably shouldn't.
Right.
But in most cases, the agent's able to instruct them ahead of time, don't touch.
Yes.
But anyways, so my point there is I think staging, unless it's explicitly listed as or made clear that you can't use it for whatever its intended use is, there has to be a sign there. Otherwise, they're going to use it. And that's why it's there.
Yeah, I agree.
But on the other end, from the homeowner's perspective and responsibility, you must keep this stuff in good condition. If you damage it, it's on you.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is one of the stresses.
You're borrowing somebody else's furniture. You're borrowing somebody else's rugs.
Yeah, if you rent a car, you got to return it in the same condition.
Right.
So I think that's one of the stresses that people have to overcome when you have the challenge of convincing them to stage the home. Is like, well, maybe they don't feel comfortable having all of that furniture in there and having the responsibility of maintaining it, especially if they have kids or pets.
So I had a sale recently. 827 Fowles. I'll call out the address and shout out to my wonderful sellers who I know listen to the podcast. So thanks for all of your hard work. When I went into the home, it was clear that the home was being utilized at 125%. Smaller property, 1,100 square foot townhome. They clearly needed to upgrade. They clearly were enjoying the home. They had lots of stuff everywhere, lots of books, plants, all kinds of stuff. And they did a tremendous job in understanding that they had to transform this home for the widest audience possible. We had that conversation, and they removed so many things they had to, in order for us to start the process.
Well,
and they
preface everything. They didn't have to. And that's the whole point to this.
Well, yes.
And
they had to if they wanted us to represent them.
Well, and
that was a non-negotiable for me.
And there was another.
I would not represent that home if that work wasn't done. And in fact, the neighbor
that's what I was gonna say.
Is still trying to sell their home and hasn't sold.
Right. Maybe because they didn't do these things.
I don't want to take an ethics course again.
No, I'm just saying maybe. The reason you took the ethics course is because you made a claim. A confident claim that was incorrect.
Well,
or I don't know if it was incorrect, but
no, it wasn't incorrect. And anyway, other topic. So they asked on my opinion if a certain area should be painted. And I said, yes. In fact, while you're at it, the whole home needed to be painted, including the baseboards. Everything needed a freshening up. And they did it. They invested the money to do that. And we worked together. I went over to their home. We changed some of the hardware in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. It was a cost-effective way of making the kitchen look a little fresher. They had some of the light fixtures upgraded, and not big, expensive light fixtures. You're talking like $70 a fixture. A few of those were upgraded and made the place pop. And we had the place beautifully staged. They walked in, they saw the photos, and they were shocked at how good the place ended up looking. Mm-hmm. And we had multiple offers on it. It sold well above their expectation, and it was a very successful sale. The key there is they listened, and they knew that based on our experience, based on our track record, I showed them examples of what we've done. They've been following us for years, so they've already seen a little bit. but they saw that, wow, look at how nice their listings look.
Mhm.
So they understood the path. But what happens is if you're dealing with a realtor that doesn't have a consistent process, that maybe is staging, because there's different types of staging. And you see that when you look at listings on MLS. Some people think
Well, even when we started,
some all right, let's get into
a
that.
lot of
because
people still do that.
That was a note that I wanted to talk about. Is 10 years ago, 10 to 15 years ago, when we got in the business, not too many homes were being staged. And we were staging, we were doing it ourselves. We had a storage locker, we had all kinds of furniture, artwork, accessories from Urban Barn, Winners. We went out and bought stuff specifically for those properties that we were listing.
We'd fill up your 3 Series BMW to the brim.
Oh, yeah. I remember those good old days.
And that, I don't know if there's a different term for that, but I would say that's more accessorizing or fluffing than staging.
But it's still... No,
it
it's
is
still staging. It's still staging. But at that time, nobody was doing even that. Right. Or very few people. And then as time goes on, or time went on, it became more common to have bigger staging items and artwork and all kinds of stuff brought in. And then staging companies started becoming more prevalent, and designers started shifting their focus from doing custom homes to now doing homes that were for sale. And it started at the higher price points, the more luxury market, and started trickling down. But there are different types of staging even today, and different quality of staging even today.
She's loud, eh?
She's loud. Why don't go in the podcast room? Not in the kitchen. And different tastes and different styles. I'm not going to mention anything, but sometimes realtors or even some stagers might have an opinion on their design or have items in their repertoire that really don't look good. What? Or they've been around
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Condition, not style, you're talking.
Condition and style.
Yeah. Well, and even some of ours, we've seen some things that's like, it's kind of questionable. It's held together with glue and tape, and we'll call them out on it and they'll fix it. But, to their, especially in this market,
okay.
And this...
I'm going down the path of realtors that are still doing the staging themselves.
Oh, I see. But
even they've got a few purple pillows and throw it on.
Colorful doilies.
They got a couple of chrome chairs that they throw in with a shitty desk and call it an office. You can tell when a stage is done properly and there was a professional, a designer that went in with a whole plan and knows how to decorate and how to set up a room for success, versus saying you're staging, because there's a huge cost. There's a huge cost to staging. Good realtors, good teams absorb that cost on a regular basis now. That's why expenses for bigger producing realtors have gone through the roof, because they recognize the importance of having
value.
The value.
Whatever it is.
Value to the seller.
Yeah.
What am I paying for? Why am I giving you X percent of the sale of my equity?
Well, and that's why, too, I think a lot of people, that's why it would be nice if there was a better way to distinguish between the varying degrees of staging. Yeah. Right? Because everybody will say,
well, there is. Do your research. Look, ask for examples. Look at past listings. Go to open houses. Go to listings that are listed by the person you're thinking of hiring. See, feel, live that experience, because how they present other listings will be likely how they present yours. Get things out on the table. Get things in writing to know what's being done, who's doing it, all that stuff. Get information, because it's easy for somebody to cut their commission as an example, not talking about rates or anything like that, but if somebody's going to do the job for less, that means they have less to spend.
Right.
So anyway, I've always been a huge advocate of staging. And for the most part, our sellers, when they see the end result, are like, wow, yeah, I'm glad we did this.
Yeah. And I would take a listing if they were adamant about not staging. I would just set the right expectations.
We have in the past.
But
even to that point, you're not just going to say, okay, then let's just take the house as it is and throw a for sale sign in the lawn. There are still things that you do in the home, even if we're not bringing in any furniture, artwork, accessories, and we're working with the home as it is, you're still checking, hey, do the baseboards need a little bit of touching up?
Yeah, there's still a preparation process.
Yeah, do the appliances need a deep cleaning? Does the grout need a deep cleaning? Is there new caulking that needs to be replaced in the bathrooms or in the kitchen? Are there things that we can remove? Are there any garbage items? Are there anything you're donating? If there's stuff you're not taking with you to the next property, let's get it out of the house. Let's make the closets nicely organized. Fold your towels. All of those things do help. Period.
That's good.
That's good.
And
if you have any questions about staging, you want our opinion, free advice, shoot us a DM, send us some photos. If you had a good experience, bad experience, you want to know even how to decorate a room and get some advice on that just for your own personal knowledge. I love that kind of stuff.
Come visit our open houses.
Yeah.
Get some creative design inspiration.
A lot of people do that.
Yes.
A lot of people do that. Anyways, nice chatting with you today.
Likewise.
Talk to you later.
Probably in 10 minutes.
Yeah. See ya.
See ya. Thanks for watching this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you subscribe. On YouTube, we publish the videos early on Sunday nights at 9 p.m., or you can catch the podcast on your favorite streaming service every Monday morning at 6.